Hello everyone, today's poem is Pipa Xing, part 2. In part 1 video, we have introduced the background of the poet Bai Juyi as well as the history background. Also, we have explored the prelude of this poem. This is a special one. The poet write a prelude, a short article for the poem. Basically, the prelude and the poem is telling the same story, yet from compare the prelude, which basically is a narrative article, narrative essay, and with this poem, a lyric as well as a narrative poem, we can feel the different writing types can have such a huge and significant difference and influence on the readers. The narrative article, the prelude, is so simple and so ordinary. If you read it, you just forgot it. And today we'll start to explore the poem, the long poem. This poem is with such importance in Chinese literature that Chinese students today are requested to remember this long poem from the very beginning to the end. And when we're exploring this poem, I will go through the meaning very quickly because the wording is quite oral language based. That's the one of the major characteristics of Bai Juyi. 浔阳江头夜送客，凤叶荻花秋瑟瑟。浔阳江头 at the riverfront of Xunyang City. So Xunyang is another name for Jiujiang City today. And actually the precise location is mentioned in the prelude, Pengpukou. So it's just like a small lake in between the huge Yangtze River and a local small river. And 夜送客, so he's seeing his guest off in the night time. 凤叶, the maple leaves. 荻花, the reed flowers along the rivers. It's makes sounding by the autumn wind. 瑟瑟 is the sound simulation. It describes the reed and the maple leaves make sounds by the wind. 主人下马客在船，举酒欲饮无管弦。So 主人refers to the poet Bai Juyi himself. So he was in this poem. He get on the horse and went on the boat with the guest. So finally they are on that small lake on a boat. 举酒欲饮无管弦. So they hold up their cup of wine and they want to drink, but they hesitate. Why? Because there's no band around. This actually reflects they are the upper level people, or they are the people quite different from normal persons. For normal persons, it's just hold up the wine and drink. For people like Bai Juyi and his guest, they are from the great city, Chang'an City, from the capital city. They used to have wine with music band around. So when they hold up their cup of wine at this remote place, there's no music band. That make them feel not good and hesitate to drink the wine. 醉不成欢惨将别，别时茫茫将近月. So it's such a sad departing event that both of them don't get drunk and they are not happy. When it's about departing time, the moon is half in the Yangtze River, half above the river, far from. The base mood and feeling in this poem or in this event is sadness. Departing is always a sadness event. Yet, we have so many Tang poetry about departing. The feeling reflected is quite different, normally very positive. Yet, no matter how the emotion feeling expressed in those poems, the untold story is the sadness beneath. The departing is always a very sad event for Chinese, especially in the Tang Dynasty. So here, the poet didn't cover up his feelings, and even he said it's much more sad than a normal departing event. The drinking even didn't make any joyful moments for them. 忽闻水上琵琶声，主人忘归客不发。So it's in such a low mood and such a silent situation. Suddenly, there's some of the sounds of the pipa coming from the river from the other side. Thus, the host, the poet Bai Juyi, forgot coming back his home in Jiujiang City, and the guest forgot going on his journey, going onto the Yangtze River. So that means they are almost parted at the very moment. So, but the music make them so curious and make some of the change to their mood as well, very sad mood. 寻声暗问弹者谁？琵琶声停欲语迟。So they alarmed the sound and asked who is playing the music. The sound of the pipa stopped, and seems they want to say something, but they didn't say anything. So the 移船相近邀相见，添酒回灯重开宴。So the host, Bai Juyi, they moved their boat to the other boat, where the music's from, and invited the person in the boat to come out and to see each other. And then the host ordered more wines and brightened the lamp, because that's the oil lamp. They need to do something to make it more bright and fill the oil. And they reopened the party, reopened the dinner, 重开宴。千呼万唤始出来。So they asked 1,000 and 10,000 times, and finally the music player come out, and still 犹抱琵琶半遮面. He still carry the pipa, the instrument, and cover half of her face. So in the Chinese, actually, so far we still don't know who is this music player. A girl, a boy, a woman, a man. We had know nothing, but in English I had to say her. So you know that. But in the real Chinese reading, so far we don't know who was that player at all. And also that player covered half of her face. That make the situation more mysterious. But normally for Chinese, we have a very draft guessed. That could be a female, because there's some of the reflection in the previous sentences that that person are so hesitant to reply the invitations. They don't say anything, and the host, the poet Bai Juyi, invited them for so many times, and finally they come out. Also cover half of her face. That is quite easily arouse a Chinese to think that could be a female person, not a man. 犹抱琵琶半遮面 is still a very popular phrase used in today that describing someone is quite shy or something or is quite mysterious. Is still half covered. You don't see it very clearly. And so far, this could be treated at the first paragraph. It introduces how this story happened and how the musician, the poet, and his guest come together, and finally they have they have a new dinner again on the boat on the Pempuco, on that small lake. Now Bai Juyi, the poet, start to write about the music. There's a lot of poems writing about music in the Tang poetry, and a lot of famous poets on that. This one could be the most famous. And normally when the poet describe the music, it's so hard, so they use many ways to describe the music. First of all, use the sound simulation. Second, use 通感. 通感 is to use another feeling to describe the feeling when you hear music. We'll see this technique in this poem as well. And also, in the third writing techniques is writing about the environment. He didn't write about the music directly. He write the people who is hearing the music. So also that could reflect some of the things of the music, the feelings on the music. The fourth writing technique is to use the fairy tales, something magic, or some events magic to describe the subtle and the feeling of the music. 转轴拨弦三两声，未成曲调先有情。She fine-tuned the pipa instrument, tried 2 or 3 sounds. It's not a piece of music, but you heard or you feel the emotion and the feelings from that 2 or 3 sounds. 弦弦掩抑声声思，四树平生不得志。So she started playing music. Every string is so conservative and express the feeling, the emotion of thinking someone, something. And it sounds like to tell the story, her unhappy story, her sad story. 低眉信手续续弹，说尽心中无限事. So she lower her eyebrow, which means she lower her head. And 信手, it sounds very naturally. He play the strings very naturally and slowly. 续续弹, played naturally and very slowly. And try to finish all her own stories, and so endlessly. 轻拢万年抹复挑，初为霓裳后六幺。拢, 捻, 挑 is 3 playing techniques. So he described 3 playing techniques and also with the characteristics of that playing techniques, which is 轻 soft, 慢 is slow, and 磨 is to touch it very smoothly. 初为霓裳后六幺, so he played the piece of music named as 霓裳 first, and when she finished that piece of music, he played 六幺afterwards. So he also pointed out which piece of music she played. 大弦草草如积雨，小弦切切如私语。大弦 the thicker string, the big string, it sounds like the heavy rains. The thin string, the small strings, it sounds like whispers. 草草切切 is the sound simulation to the thick string and the thin strings. 草草切切错杂弹，大珠小珠落玉盘。草草切切 all the sounds, the heavy sounds, the soft sounds, they are scattered and mixed up. It sounds like the pearls, the big pearls and the small pearls falling into the plate of jade. So this is a comparison the pipa sound to the sound of the pearl falling into the plate of jade. 间关莺语花底花，幽怨泉流冰下难。So here is the writing techniques on music, so-called 通感. So he used another situation or another scenario to simulate the feelings of when you hear the music. 间关莺语 the birds is singing very smoothly in the flowers. So that's the situation, that feeling. When you hear that, see that situation, hear that situation, that's quite similar to the feeling when you hear the music here. 幽咽泉流冰下难. So the small creeks and the ice, it struggled its way under the ice. It's so difficult. So this describes the music is just like someone's crying, and the sound is not so smooth. It's not so easy to go through. So this writing techniques is so-called 通感. 冰弦冷涩弦凝绝，凝绝不通声暂歇。 Still use the writing technique 通感. The sound feels like the small creeks rushing under the ice, but the way is so narrow and difficult, and finally the string sounds like it was frozen. 凝绝不通声暂歇. The string was frozen, and finally the sound stops. 别有忧愁暗恨生，此时无声胜有声. So there's some other sadness and sorrow and worries grows underneath at this moment of silence. And this silence at this very moment is much way better than playing music. So 此时无声胜有声 is also a very popular phrase used today. So it describes the situation. The silence is much better than make noise, than make music, than say some words. 银瓶乍破水浆迸，铁骑突出刀枪鸣. The silver bottle broken, suddenly, and the water in it spilled out. The iron horses rushed out with the sword. The weapons make sounds. That's the sword cutting each other. So that's the sound of the metals. So the two sound is totally different. The very crystal clear silver bottle broke, and the softness of the sound by the water, and then the very strong and masculine sound in the battlefield by the weapons. So this could be the sound simulation. This also could be the feelings reflected in the poet's mind by the music. So a good music is not just pleasant sound. It makes the listeners think with the music. It makes the listeners dreams with the music. It arouses the feelings of the listeners and let the listeners feel something deeply. So in this poem, the writer simulates the sound with some of the sound simulation wordings. Yet the poet wants you to feel the same way as he did and let you have the real experience from his wordings, and just like you are in the very place hearing the music as him, thinking the same thing as him, dreaming the same thing as him, have the same feeling as him. So that's the magnificent writing techniques the poet Bai Juyi have in this poem. 曲中收拨当心画，四弦一声如裂帛. When she finished the music, he struck on the center of Pipa with just one heavy stroke. The four strings sounds like to split a piece of silk. 东船西舫悄无言，唯见江心秋月白。东船西舫, the two boats, one boat of the host Bai Juyi, the other boat is of the women who play the music. So the two boats, the people on the two boats, they are so silent when the music finished. Nobody talk at all. 东船西舫悄无言，唯见江心秋月白. So you only see the white moon in the center of the river. So here, from the moons, we also know the time has been passed for 1 or 2 hours already. The moon has risen up from the horizon. This is the second paragraph of this long poem, which describes the women playing the music and how the music sounds to the poet Bai Juyi himself, and also the feelings of all the people in the boats. This paragraph is the masterpiece, most famous paragraph in the Tang poetry describing the music with poems. He used many writing techniques to reflect not only the sounds but also the feelings of the people who is hearing that. So if I was the Chinese prime school teacher, normally I ask the students to recite the whole poem. Anyhow, if you are too busy, remember this paragraph. It's a must to remember or recite paragraph in the Tang poetry. Okay, that's for today. That's part 2. We will continue and try to finish the whole poem in part 3. Okay, bye bye for today.